Grass is green, sky is blue, great day to be alive and great day for high school soccer, and that's what we have for you here on ETV. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here for ETV Sports. My name is Nathan Cron, coming to you from Wildcat Stadium on the campus of Eagan High School, Eagan, Minnesota. With me, for the first time this year, is my podcast partner, Skip Newton. Our schedules are finally putting us in the same spot, in the same broadcast booth. Skip, the folks are in for a real treat tonight. How you doing?
Really good. I mean, we have to quell the rumors that you and I were not getting along. I think that needed to be squashed right from the start. But I'm excited to be watching Eagan soccer again. I know I did the games last week, but you weren't able to be there. But yeah, great to be back. And you know, it's a chance for Eagan to keep back in the win column. They've struggled to put some goals in this season. It's been kind of a thing holding them back. The good news, however, is that their opponent tonight, the Cougars from Lakeville South, struggling even more. So if their defense can keep playing the way they've been playing, it might only take one goal to get a win.
Yeah, going into this game, both teams are struggling. As you say, Skip, I think you said it in our pregame talk. Last five games, the Cougars have not scored. And in the Wildcats, in 5 of their 7 games this year, they've only scored 1 goal. So neither team exactly blowing up the scoreboard, but an opportunity for both teams nonetheless to climb off the bottom or keep climbing, I should say, up into the South Suburban Conference standings. Karstensen, Cooper, Olerts, Son, Bolton, Maddox, Hennon, Hines, Ebbinghausen, Sterling, and the other Ebbinghausen are your starting 11 for the Cougars. For the Wildcats, starting goalie is Abigail McGowan, the sophomore, along with Wood, Westerman, Enning, Burke, Triplett, Borean, Triplett, the other Stella Triplett, Hendrickson, Severson, and Cameron. And we're underway here early in Eagan. Wildcats in their home greens with the white trim, white numbers. Cougars in their road whites with the crimson trim with gold lettering. And the Wildcats now test Triplett with it, turning to her outside, going from left to right on your screen.
Nice job by Triplett. They're maintaining possession, letting Eagan kind of get settled in here and complete some passes.
We're talking in the pregame prep, Skip, about how many games these two teams have played. The Wildcats are almost at the mid-level as this ball comes in towards the edge of the penalty area, dealt with quickly and competently that time by the Cougars. But the Wildcats, this is their 8th game this season. They're halfway done with their season. It's the second week of school, or it's the third week of school, and they're done halfway done with their season.
It's crazy how fast that the fall sports season really is for all the sports. I mean, you don't think of it as starting until school starts, which of course is right before Labor Day, those couple of days extra. But man, you get into the second week of September, and it's already, like you said, we're at the midway point, and they gotta start thinking about really putting things together. Can they bring their game to a higher level to get ready for section play?
Cougars and Wildcats are in 2 separate sections. The Cougars in Section 1 AAA, the Wildcats in Section 3 AAA. Obviously still both part of the South Suburban Conference. And Cougars traditionally one of the stronger programs in the conference. As you see Triplett battling there. Ultimately it comes out and finds its way to a white boot, but Wildcats, as you said, Skip, in our pregame, we talked about it, need to find a way to put something in the back of the net.
Encouraging start. While we haven't seen any shots to goal yet, at least the time of possession has been overwhelmingly in favor of the Wildcats, and it's been, mostly in the Cougars' half of the field. So, they're connecting these passes here if they just need to take it to that next level, and that should start generating some scoring chances.
Hendrickson sends that one down, looking for a teammate. Westerman on the other end, but again, it's claimed by the Cougars, and now goes into touch, and the sun's shining here. It's a beautiful day here in Eagan. Nice and warm outside, mid-70s, maybe even a little bit on the humid side. But a great night for high school soccer, and we've got a back-to-back doubleheader here for you here on ETV Sports. The girls obviously playing right now. The boys will be also playing Lakeville South here tonight, starting about 20 minutes or so after the conclusion of this game. And I should remind everybody it is also EAA night, so we've got a lot of extra youngsters in the crowd. Wear your EAA soccer jersey, get in free. Burke finds Westerman. Westerman switches the field. This is Borjan. She serves it across. One opportunity here. This falls for Stella Triplett. Triplett just with a heavy touch. Just with a heavy touch. And Karstensen is able to come off her line and grab that one, but some nice pressure there by the Wildcats.
Yeah, I liked the quick decision by Borjan to just absolutely turn right away, very definitive, and make that left foot cross. She got a little bit of a break as it went off of the defender and straight onto the foot of Triplett. Unfortunately, like you said, just a bit heavy with the touch. If that's a lighter touch, she's in a perfect position to put one home.
McGowan has it played back to her. A bit of a mishit, goes towards the sideline. Cleaned up there by Cameron. Wood and Enning play catch. And the Cougars claim. Interesting that the Wildcats skip. Wildcats playing a different formation than we've seen them in. And we've pointed this out earlier in the season, but Wildcats going with 3 at the back, a couple of defensive center mids, and then 3 in the middle, and then a couple of players up front. So a different, there aren't as many bodies back there playing defense as historically would be the case. So you would think that would inure to the benefit of the offense, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I think that's a direct result or a direct decision based on the lack of scoring, the lack of generating offensive chances. We've seen this in past seasons from Coach Q. He's made the decision to go with 3 on the back line, and typically that's when he's looking for the Wildcats to just generate more scoring chances.
Well, so far the pressure on Borjan and Wood on the outside at the outside wings has been substantial. Those 2 players have held up well, and in fact, before the game we were noticing that none of the Wildcat players are in street clothes. Everybody looks to be healthy. This might be the first or second time that's happened all season, as the Wildcats are dispossessed there by the Cougars as they move down into their own end.
Yeah, it was a nice defensive play by the Cougars. The Wildcats were one step, one touch away from potentially getting a nice break on the far side. Wide open girl out on the wing. They just could not get to that ball in time.
Just the one shot for the Wildcats, nothing for the Cougars as of yet. Still early in this one. I want to thank you for joining us here on ETV Sports as Hendrickson gives chase to this one and puts it into touch. Whether you're watching from Eagan, down the road, down Highway 3 in Lakeville, if you're in Aberdeen, South Dakota, Knoxville, Tennessee, or if you are in Argentina, thank you for joining us here on ETV Sports. And assistant referee on the other side of the 50-yard line sees that one go into touch. Westerman tries to play that across. It's broken up that time quickly by Hines. Falls for Borjan on the far side, who sends it in looking for Triplett. Triplett has it off of her left foot, lays that off for Enning. Enning pooches that up for Wood. Wood's going to flash a little speed, but it's just a little too close. I thought it was too close to Karstensen, but it wasn't. It was really close opportunity for Sammy Wood.
Yeah, it was a nice job by Enning, sending that one more to the edge of the box and not straight up the middle. If it's straight up the middle, that's an easy pickup for the goalkeeper. It obviously wasn't out yet far enough, but the idea was there, the concept was there, and that's what you like to see. So she's thinking, I need to keep this away from the keeper and put it where my teammate can get to it first.
And we've seen already this year, Skip, I think you would agree, we've already seen this year that Sammy Wood's got some wheels, and she can run balls down. So giving her an opportunity to run on it, and speaking of Wood, look at the pressure here, forcing the throw down deep in the other end, but so often, you're right, that ball comes too close to the keeper. The keeper's able to easily claim it. In fact, I thought that's what was going to happen, and Wood out of nowhere helps create an opportunity. Triplett takes off her hip. She's going to get a foot to it, or is she? And she did, but it was out over the end line.
Ball over the end line off the Wildcats.
Yeah, it looked like when she first played it with the body that she had set herself up perfectly. It just came off a little strong.
Tess Triplett, number 7 for the Wildcats, one of the players who did return from last year's varsity squad, that had generated some offense for this Wildcat team. She was hurt for a portion of the earlier part of the season. And there she draws the first foul of the evening. So a free kick for the Wildcats. Looks like Enning or Hendrickson will be on this one.
Foul called on the Cougars, a free kick
Imagine that
coming for
Coach
the
Q
Wildcats.
would like to have Triplet, that is Test Triplet,
First
be
foul of
that
the game on Lakeville
midfield
South.
distributor, field general, set up her
Free kick
teammates,
for the
create
Wildcats.
opportunities. And hopefully for the Wildcats, she falls into that role very soon as Hendrickson puts her foot into this one.
Number 12,
Oh,
Avery
that's a heck
Hendrickson
of a
with the
header.
kick.
That was a great header by Enning. Honestly, I'll tell you, Skip, I'm not sure that I saw her in the frame of my vision before she hit
Shot
that
was
ball.
on goal,
Yeah, that
but
was
saved
perfectly
for
struck.
Delaney
The problem is she's about
Christensen.
25 yards out. I mean, that's a tough ask to score with your head there. But had that been one of those where it had been off a corner kick and within 10, 12 yards, that unless it's right at the keeper, that's in the net.
Hendrickson under pressure. Now Cameron under pressure. Cameron for Wood. Wood lays off for Enning. Now Triplet. Now Stella Triplet had a heck of a couple of games earlier this season as Wood's going to give chase. She's not going to run this one down. But Stella Triplet, player of the match
Goal kick
against,
for the Cougars.
at least in this humble commentator's opinion, player of the match against Bloomington Jefferson. Had a great game, scored the game winner, but has really settled into that center forward position, playing with her back to the goal, Skip. And that's something that we haven't seen a lot of Wildcat teams over the last handful of years have, and that is a forward who really plays predominantly with their back to the goal.
Yeah, the one player I can think of recently was Weisendoner.
Yeah,
It felt like she was very comfortable using her body to shield off the defender from behind it and distribute to either side. Oh, that's good pressure.
I'm telling you, Stella Triplet, if she continues pressure like that, something's going to give. That punch will start to tell at some point. But as we said, folks, if you're watching this here on ETV and you've taken in some of the Wildcat games earlier this season, as that ball comes to the back line, Hendrickson using her body to shield that ball off and puts that into touch. If you've watched this Wildcat team, in 5 of the 7 games they have played, they have scored 1 goal or fewer. And that means that their record in those games is 2-1-2. So very, very much kind of a middling record for a team that has designs on a section final. I won't say section championship because I don't want to put any extra pressure necessarily on the players or the coaching staff, but certainly, as Skip, you're very aware, this team, this program has been in the section final the last 5 years in a row, and I'm sure these girls would love to make it 6.
Yeah, when you get used to that level of success, it almost becomes the expectation, in that, okay, we're not, the goal isn't to get to the section finals. It's always like, all right, what are we going to do to win that and get back to state? And of course they accomplished that last year. This year they're going to have to do some work and figure some things out. That's, again, great aggressive play by the Wildcats. They're really not giving up on any of these balls. They've saved a few. That one was really good effort there.
And Triplet being pushed off that ball. Just trying to pick up the number to make sure I get the name right. That was Ebbinghausen, Hannah Ebbinghausen, the senior defender. Did a nice job that time of using her shoulder, using her body correctly. Here's Wood around the sides. She's going to try to serve it in, but unfortunately for Wood, none of her teammates making the run on that section of the field. So often that forward has her momentum carrying her one way, even if there's a little contact. It looks like a hard foul, and in fact, it's not even a foul.
But I would have liked to have seen her take one more touch to try to get her body more facing the direction that she wanted the ball to go. I don't hate the decision to cross it right away. Sometimes you see players, they take one extra touch and it's one too many, but in this case she might have helped herself out with one more.
Burke loads up the cannon and goes to goal, but misses. Third shot
Cougars
for the Wildcats. Not on goal for that one, but I'm sure in your
That shot
travels
for the
around the world,
Wildcats
Skip,
was
you've had a
Evie
chance
Burke,
to take in a
number
few of the
6,
Wildcat
wide,
games
goal
on
kick,
here on
Lakeville
ETV
South.
Sports, and I'm sure you saw Evie Burke has a big leg.
I was just going to say, I have no problem with her shooting from 30 yards out. She's got a cannon of a shot, and she lets that go and puts it in the right spot on frame. It's going to be a really tough save for any goalkeeper.
Talk about, as we started this season, we talked about how many of these players, it was a relatively new experience to be on the varsity field. The speed of the game, the technical requirements of the game, the unforgiving nature of mistakes made during a game. But now, we're halfway through the season, Skip. There are no new players out there anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
There can't be.
The new players are much more familiar with the speed. I think they've adjusted to at least to the physical parts of it, probably even the mental, the preparation, what to expect. And so this is where I think you can see teams really start to improve and separate themselves. The ones that adjust the quickest and become more used to, again, like you said, that the varsity level of soccer, that they can really make a difference in the last few weeks of the season.
Triplett diving in there, but couldn't quite come up with it. This ball finds its way out to Eve Ebbinghausen, who serves it forward that time for San, and that's taken away by Cameron. Burke having a little challenge there with the turf, sends it to safety, and then Hendrickson sends it further to safety. Test Triplett with a turn, an opportunity, serves it forward. Here this ball's going to run. Is Wood going to get on the end of this? She is going to get on the end of it. She's going to be able to keep it in. Serves it back, and an opportunity for Triplett. She's by one defender, she's by two defenders. She splits the defenders, comes across, opportunity in the corner, a collision.
Test Triplett number 7.
And it's cleared by the Cougars.
Double zero.
Great opportunity created by Triplett and her ball skills. I thought for sure that would get scrambled in at the back post, Skip.
Yeah, I think the goalkeeper for the Cougars, Carstensen, did a really great job of not just the initial save, but getting over there and preventing the rebound from going. It looked like that was just going to be a tap-in rebound. Fantastic shot for the Wildcats. That easily the best scoring chance, the best shot on goal. But man, I thought that was going to result in the first nick on the scoreboard.
Burke pops this one up. It's going to be handled by the back line. At least it looks like, yep, it gets handled by the back line. She gets another chance at it, and it comes to Evie Burke again, this time for Triplett. Triplett looks like she wants to maybe shoot. Maybe she wants to get a little closer. Triplett dispossessed, but it goes into touch, and now we'll have a throw-in for the Wildcats. And we'll see our first substitutions of the game as McKenna Willie
now for
and
the Eagan Wildcats. Into the game, Ariella
Yin will both check in
McKenna Willie, number 8.
for the Wildcats,
Going
with
out,
Triplett
Ellie Westerman,
and
number 3,
Westerman being withdrawn.
Stella
I
Triplett,
should say
number
Stella
11.
Triplett and Naomi Ellie Westerman being withdrawn.
Yeah, that last play, like you said, it looked like Triplett wanted to take a shot. I think that was good field awareness. I think she took a look and realized, you know what, I'm a little far out. Let me see if I can improve my position. Let's see if I can find an open teammate. None of that came to be, but still a good awareness, good decision there.
Foul called on the Wildcats. Free kick.
Second foul, I should say, of the game. This one, first one against the Wildcats. Cougars with a deep free kick. Yin goes high for it. Played in the middle that time by Hines, and we have a push against the Wildcats. Check it. It was
Okay,
a push against, at first I wasn't sure exactly what was going on there. Referee blew a whistle, made a motion of a push,
Cougars. Free
but
kick
in fact it is against the Cougars, and Hendrickson is going to take another try at this.
Well, even from up here, from our distance, you could see the look on Yin's face. Like,
Hendrickson,
wait a
number
minute,
12 on the
that's
kick.
on me? How's that?
Ball comes floating down into the penalty area. It gets knocked down. Opportunity for Burke. Burke goes for goal, and
Evie
it slides
Burke, number
wide.
6 with the shot that is wide.
Really
Goal
like the
kick,
fact
Cougars.
that Evie Burke was stepping into that right away. Obviously, it's going to be a very tough opportunity, tough skill to get that on frame, but I love the quick decision making. As you can see in the corner there, the left side of your screen as the camera pans, the Lakeville South Cougars are going to be preparing their substitutes for the second half of this first half. Score still 0-0. Thank you for joining us here on ETV Sports as Cameron knocks that one down. Orion for Yin. Yin switches the field. And now for Wood. And of course, the Wildcats, last time they were here, 1-0 losers to the Lakeville North Panthers in a rain-soaked game that you had the fortune of calling, but the misfortune of having to sit through. insofar as it was nasty weather. But then, of course, this week on Monday, the Wildcats went down to Rosemount Stadium, District Stadium. I think they still call it District Stadium? I don't know. Rosemount Stadium, in any event, for a 0-0 draw against probably the other favorite in this section to head to the section final. So, big result for the Wildcats, just not a big score line.
Yeah, keeping Rosemount off the scoreboard, that's an impressive accomplishment, and they should really feel good about that, and that should give them some confidence, going into the next couple of weeks.
Willie dispossessed. That ball gets taken away from her. Enning is going to try to get to this. Willie's got another chance at it. Finds Cameron, who pops that towards Karstensen, but she'll just let that bounce. So sunshine coming from the west, not really in anybody's either keeper's eyes. Wind, the American flag at the north end of Wildcat Stadium is absolutely dead still.
Long shot for
So
the
no wind
Wildcats, taken
to
by
speak
Jillian
of.
Camera, number 16.
Willie with the outside of her foot takes and turns, finds Borean on the far side. Francesca on the outside, comes to the middle, and I think that's going to be, what do we have? I think we have a goal kick. Unlucky that
Goal
time.
kick, Cougars.
As Borean had done a nice job of getting to that edge, and we've seen the Wildcats over the years have good experience, good results, I should say, getting to the edge, turning that corner and firing negative passes through that penalty and goal area.
Yeah, I'd like to see them try to leverage Borean's speed a little bit more on that far side. It feels like every time the ball gets on her foot, good things are happening. She's getting an open field, an open lane to send a good cross, and now there she couldn't quite complete that cross, but only because she ran out of real estate. I mean, she had her defender beat. We've seen this now consistently pretty much every time she's touched the ball over there, so I think that's an advantage that the Wildcats should look to exploit.
Foul against the Cougars right around the football 35-yard line. Avery Hendrickson will stand under this one. Referee was playing advantage. Didn't really make a strong signal for advantage. Would have been nice if maybe he had done that, but picky I am. This ball comes in towards Yin. Yin, almost had it on the foot of Triplett. It's still on the ground, and Karstensen gobbles it up.
Shot for the Wildcats.
What an opportunity, Skip.
Yeah, that thing was pinballing around, and all of a sudden Karstensen had to make a quick reaction save. Did a nice job getting down with that shot right on the turf.
Well, Yin, not the most towering figure out there, got a clean head to it, and it found Triplett. I don't think Triplett thought it was coming in that direction that way. To her credit, Tess Triplett still was able to steer that towards the goal, but not the result the Wildcats were looking for. Karstensen, like you said, a snap save, as the Wildcats and Cougars both will switch some players around. So Tesdall and Stokes checking in, along with Statman, Stokes, and Tesdall all checking in.
For Lakeville South into the game. Number 3, Kaya Hollingsworth. Number 13, Sophia Corda.
And Paige Werner, number 13, also checked in.
Annabelle Olton.
Son sends this one forward
for
her teammate, but
Taylor Tetner, and also in is number
24, the Lakeville South Cougars, whose numbers doesn't happen to be on my program. I'll have to figure that one out at halftime.
For the Wildcats now,
McGowan gets a rare touch to this ball. The more you can say your keeper's barely touching the ball, Skip, I think the better off you are. But that being said, the Wildcats really could use something on the scoreboard.
Also in for the Wildcats.
Yeah, there's still 17 minutes left in this half. And I think if we get to half and it's still sitting 0-0, if the Wildcats continue to get the pressure that they've had thus far, that they'll probably go into the half feeling good about the pressure and the possession, but not so good that they weren't able to capitalize.
Second or third time the Wildcats waiting on a ball as Ebbinghausen steps in front of that one, but the Wildcats a couple of times, Skip, have waited on a ball, and the Cougar defenders have come through and taken it away. Here's an opportunity for Triplett. Tess Triplett hammers this one down, and it's put into safety by Hennon. But a couple of times the Wildcats have had some good build-up play, but have basically had their pockets picked by good defensive plays by the Cougars. And I think that's going to be a Cougar throw. And it will be. As we were talking about in preparation for this game, Skip, we thought, is one goal enough? And it might be tonight.
Yeah, it's shaping up that way so far. Eagan doing a nice job of again, controlling, possession, keeping it in the attacking half, sometimes getting into the attacking third. Really, like you said, I mean, McGowan's had just 2 touches on the ball, no shots, no opportunities, no good scoring chances for the Cougars either.
Neither team really able to generate much in the way of connected passes in the attacking third. Here's a nice throw from Tesdall, finds Triplett. Triplett uses her head, comes inside for her teammate who immediately punched out. Severson with a nice step. This finds its way back to Karstensen. But neither team demonstrating really that cutting edge, Skip, that we've typically seen from both programs. Both programs in the past, quality top half of the South Suburban Conference type programs. And this one heads over into touch as I said, the Wildcats' last game was against the Rosemont Irish, a 0-0 draw. The last game for the Cougars, a 5-0 defeat at the hands of Shakopee. And the Sabres so far this year having a good season, but 5 goals is a lot. 4 losses for the Sabres, for the Cougars against the Sabres, the Irish from Rosemount, the Woodbury Royals, and the White Bear Lake Bears. So 4 traditional quality opponents that have had South on the wrong end of the scoreboard. Their next game is on the 13th against Rochester Century in Rochester. Werner chasing that one as Severson steps up. Yin's going to try to serve this forward. It does come forward, but Triplett was moving in the opposite direction. And Karstensen will come all the way out to the edge of the penalty area. So you get a sense, Skip, that despite the fact that we're halfway through the season, that there's still a little bit of communication that needs to be worked out between the girls in terms of, are you going, are you staying, where should I play this ball, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that one was, a miscommunication where the girl checked back and the expectation was that she was going to make a run, or just an errant pass, right? Like tried to hit her checking back and just missed it. It's tough to know for sure, but yeah, not connecting,
2 substitutions
to that front line here, at least in the last few minutes, has been more of an issue than we saw early on in this game. We need to see the Wildcats get back to what they were doing earlier. I mean, they produced 7 shots really in the first half of this first half, and that's a lot of shots for 20 minutes. If they can get back to that, again, good things are going to happen.
Valaga and Stokes have both checked in. Yin spins and turns, goes to the other side. This is Willie. Willie with an opportunity. Great defense that time by the Cougars. Had to sell out as Willie wound up the cannon. This is from Tesdall. Tesdall to the back post. Can somebody get a touch to it? They can't. I think that's a corner. I thought that was a corner. I thought that came off of Karstensen. But in any event, it is a goal kick. But a nice ball from Tesdall, and I thought somebody was going to get on the other end of that.
Yeah, that thing somehow found its way through and nobody touched it. And, the split second, you're wondering, is this actually going to hit the post or maybe find its way in? And, yeah, a couple of Wildcats there were just a step away from redirecting. And all it takes is a redirect in that example, and that's going to be a goal.
Wildcats have many of their bench players on the field. It would be great for the Wildcats to get some production from the bench as Severson and Stokes there combined on the defense. And an early corner, well, I should say a corner opportunity
Ball is over the end line
for
of
the
Wildcats. This will be a
Cougars,
corner kick
not
for
early in
Lakeville
the
South.
half,
This will
but
be the first of the game for the
it's
Cougars.
to be honest with you, Skip, they've been down here so rarely that it feels like a new experience.
Yeah, I mean this will be really their first decent scoring chance, right here on the Cougar corner.
Opportunity for Maddox. She puts the right foot to it, heads towards the edge of the penalty area, the goal area. It scrambles around, and somehow that ball is off of a Cougar player and over the end line. McGowan will have a goal kick.
Now Eagan was winning all of the loose balls there in the middle of the box. They just couldn't clear it clean. Every time they went to clear it, it would bounce off of one of the Cougar attackers, and finally it bounced off in for a goal kick.
Number 23. Going out was
Well, we
Hannah
mentioned
Ebbinghaus
earlier
at
that
number
it's
16.
somewhat warm out there, and there is some humidity with no wind. We've got several instances here as Willie takes it off of her foot, several instances of people waving in the air. I think there's some gnats or flies down there on the field that are annoying the players. As Tesdal heaves that one in, and we'll have another chance at it after she chases the ball down. Very enthusiastic ball girls here.
Yeah, A for effort by the ball girls for sure.
Falls for Burke. Burke not able to get a touch to it. It's taken that time by Korda. And this ball gets played back all the way to Maddox.
Wouldn't mind seeing the Wildcats when they play that one back to put some more aggressive pressure on that back line. See if they can't force a turnover, force a mistake. Maybe they can generate a shot that way.
Willie's ball just a little too heavy for Triplett there, but I like Willie putting that ball down and letting Triplett run onto it, making that play decisively. Stokes with a header. This falls for Tesdal. Yin flicks on. Comes in the middle for Stetman. Stetman goes across. That's going to be intercepted. So the Wildcats, their next game is going to be at Eden Prairie this Saturday at 3 p.m. So a non-conference, non-section game against the Eagles. Good seats still available. Saverson battling on the far side. This falls for Valaga. Valaga sticks her hips into it, tries to push that ball up forward. And here's Burke, and Burke draws a foul. Easy call for center referee Stefan.
Foul on the Wildcats. Free kick upcoming. Cougars.
Meta. So a free kick for the Cougars taken by Maddox right around the 40-yard line.
On the kick,
So it
number
comes down,
23,
floats
Eagan
towards the
Ebbinghaus.
edge of the penalty area. Now it goes all the way through. McGowan was rooted on her back line that time. Did not aggressively come off her line to take that one, and it rolls over the end line.
Back in the game, Sammy Wood, number 2.
As Wood
Entering the game now for the Wildcats, Sophia Sutherland, number 10.
and Sutherland will check in for the
Going out,
Wildcats.
Tess Triplett, number 7, and McKenna Willie, number 8.
So into the last 8 minutes of this half, neither team able to crack the scoreboard, Skip, and I have to agree with you. I think if this big collision there, but nothing there, as both players going for the ball, both players take each other out. I have to think that if the Wildcats have the majority of shots and chances and opportunities in this half, and they're not able to get one on the scoreboard, the Cougars will be happy with that.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they're struggling to get the ball, they being the Cougars, into the attacking, third of the field, and really just lucky to get it past halfway. So the longer this game stays scoreless, when you're struggling like that offensively, the more opportunity there is for you to get just one chance and capitalize, and all of a sudden you can find yourself on the winning edge in a game where you felt like you got pretty well dominated, or at least the other team definitely dominated time of possession. And that can be a really discouraging thing for the team that's generating all the chances but not capitalizing on them.
Cats just lacking a little bit of creativity or cutting edge in the attacking third. They've had a couple of crossing balls that they were just not able to get the right number of body parts onto, steer it towards goal. Comes back as Valaga gives chase and puts that into touch. Valaga battles there in the corner, trying to dig that one out. That's going to be off of Valaga and a second corner. And if the Cougars are going to have an opportunity to score, Skip, I can't think of a better way than to earn a corner.
It is a corner kick for Lakeville.
Yeah, the last time it was a nice ball right into the middle of the box. Cougars were unable to get any sort of shot out of it, but they definitely had an opportunity.
Maddox with it again. This comes towards the penalty spot. It's played away that time by the Wildcats, but Maddox has it again. She's going to try to serve it back in, and nice job by Valaga using her back/hips to send that out into touch. Good cross that time by the Cats, and McGowan comes up with that one. I think officially that might be their first shot on goal. Might be their first shot on goal in this game.
Yes, it is. I think the first time McGowan's had to use her hands at all.
Burke and Werner, your two center defensive mids, with Tesdall, Stokes, and Severson on the back line. Wood, Stetman, and Yin in the midfield with Triplett. So Cats need to find some sort of dial up some magic here. As Yin's going to make this run, she'll be dispossessed, but the ball will go into touch. And oddly enough, everyone's saying that that's a white throw, even though everyone, I think, in green thought that might be an Eagan throw. I'll remind you here on ETV, we will be bringing you the senior night football game coming up on Friday. The Wildcats from Eagan take on the Eastview Lightning, an inter-district, inter-conference, intersection rivalry.
Going to be a big win for the Wildcats?
Well, we'll see. I mean, the both teams are still looking for their first victory of the season, so we'll have to see. The Wildcats have certainly had some, as they have a foul there against the Cougars. But the Wildcats certainly have had some very difficult opponents in Prior Lake and Shakopee. Shakopee, of course, last year a state semifinalist in Class 6A, so, and Prior Lake, no slouches. So in any event, the Wildcats will host the Lightning. Game time there is 7 o'clock here on Friday as Severson has that off of her head. She's going to try to control that. It squirts out over into touch. Make sure you go to etv.com or the ETV YouTube channel. You can see all of these games, and you can go back and look in the archives. So if you want to go back and check out the archives of games between teams from a few years ago, you certainly can do that.
Hannah Ebickhausen, number 16. Kendall Sterling, number
Also,
18,
if you subscribe to that
12,
YouTube channel, you'll get
Hines,
updates on
number
new opportunities. Carstenson's going to come to the edge of the area for this one. Yin gave chase, but the Cougars were comfortably handling that. Well, Skip, it's good to have you back. I have to say, it's nice to have a two-man booth again.
Yeah, it was just a weird scheduling quirk. The family overseas, enjoying some time in Ireland and London. Did kind of chuckle as you guys were getting ready for that first game on Saturday, and I'm sitting at Emirati Stadium getting ready to watch the Arsenal in their home opener, a big 5-0 win over Leeds. Fun atmosphere there.
Well, it's certainly a great soccer atmosphere. And I think I've only been to one Premier League game, Skip, and I will say that one of the things that struck me was the lack of blinking lights and announcements and music and stoppages and things like that. And I think every single person in the stadium, there are no vendors going up and down stairs, anything like that. I think every single person in the stadium is locked onto the ball, locked onto the field. They're paying attention to that and not distracted by something else.
Yeah, the fans are intense. The atmosphere is intense. That is for sure. It's so much fun to be a part of.
Cougars with a nice job with a 1-2 pass there and an opportunity. It goes to not that time, but as good a passing in the attacking third as they have had in this game. Valaga fires that one in to touch, and we head into the last minute of the game. Still don't know who number 20 is for the Cougars, as we have another corner, so a third corner of the first half, and this is dangerous stuff, Skip Newton, for the Wildcats to be conceding corners against a team that is goal-starved like the Cougars.
Yeah, they do have to be aware of the time here, as we're down to about 24 seconds. Running clock.
Ball comes in, Valaga with the defense, Yin with the defense. This comes back to the middle, and here's an opportunity for the Cougars. Abigail McGowan off of her line, gets a hand to it. Gets cleared momentarily. Will the Wildcats be able to avoid further danger into the last 5 seconds? And McGowan will safely cradle that one, but a huge save, I think, for McGowan. The best shot and scoring opportunity for the Cougars in the entire half came in the last 8 seconds of the half.
Yeah, that was a goal-saving dive there by McGowan. Just a phenomenal play, recognizing that if she didn't get there first, that was a golden opportunity for the Cougars, and did a great job of just punching that one. All she had to do was get a touch on it, but man, that she had to act quickly. It was a huge play, which is especially impressive given that she hasn't had to do much for the half. Just to be that alert and aware and understanding that, I got to make a play and I got to make it now. That hats off to that one.
And sophomore keeper doing a good job of keeping the Wildcats in this game. As we said, it might be the first team to one, might be the winner of this game. We will step aside here for halftime. Score in Eagan, Cougars 0, Wildcats 0. You are watching ETV Sports. And we're back on ETV Sports here for second half action between the Lakeville South Cougars and the Eagan Wildcats. Thanks for joining us again here for the second half on ETV. Cougars in their whites will be moving from left to right on your TV screen. Wildcats in their green with the white and trim are going to be defending the south goal. Clouds have rolled in, taking away some of that sunshine. But otherwise, wind has stayed down. And Nathan Cron back with you along with my broadcast partner, Skip Newton. And Skip, coming out of halftime, both teams probably going to make a few adjustments, trying to do something to get something on the scoreboard. Yeah,
what we saw in the first half was really the first 20 minutes or so dominated by the Wildcats. They controlled possession. It was always on the Cougar half of the field. The Wildcats generated, quite a few shots. It seemed like they all came within that first 20 minutes. And then things started to turn a little bit, and I don't want to say like the Cougars took control, but it just felt more even as the half went on. The Cougars ended up getting 3 corner kicks, which, that's always a good scoring opportunity. So for the Wildcats, I think they just need to get back to what they were doing early, and eventually that's going to work. They're going to get a goal.
Borean, nice takeaway there, an opportunity. Stella Triplett couldn't quite get that one off of her foot. Goes into touch, but again, the Wildcats with their starting 11. Opportunity here for Westerman. This gets popped towards Karstensen. It's still fumbled, and Westerman, there was a little bit of contact. She went down, nothing there for the Wildcats. No penalty shout at all. But Karstensen doing a nice job of keeping that one away from goal. Arguably a shot on goal. This falls for Triplett. Now Enning. Borean. She dances to the middle and finds Enning, and Enning's almost dispossessed and is almost dispossessed. Finds Cameron. Again, Cats just waiting on the ball just a little too much. Far side, here's an opportunity for Westerman. Westerman with the left foot chips in towards Triplett. Triplett had Borean all alone behind her, all alone. Nobody within 15 yards of Francesca Borean, but did not pick her out. Unlucky that time for the Wildcats, Skip.
Yeah, and I don't think she had the opportunity to let that one go. I don't think it was going fast enough. It wouldn't have gotten over there, but oh man, she was so wide open.
Although if you're the Wildcat supporter, that portends to some potentially good things. If the backside post is going to be open, Cats need to find a way to get that to the backside post. Throwing in the far side for the Lakeville South Cougars there, middle of your screen. And for the Wildcats, the question still is being asked, who is going to step up and create some offense? Who's going to find the back of the net? Tess Triplett battling there with her back to the goal, goes negative to Hendrickson, who pops that up high in the air. Good header away that time by Hennon. Enning, far side. Westerman. Wood. Good switch of the field that time by Westerman. Borean, heavy contact there, but able to keep it in, this momentarily, and Severson unable to get on the other end of that one. I thought maybe Borean might have drawn a foul there. That looked like some heavy contact to her back.
Yeah, she was just a little strong laying that one off for Severson. Severson hadn't started her run yet. Another example where just the two players aren't quite in sync yet, and that's hopefully something that will come together fairly quickly for this team.
Ball gets pitched forward that time by Ebbinghausen, falls for McGowan, who sends it the other way. I have to say, if the Wildcats and Cougars are going to get into as Triplett goes down for looking for that one, header away that time by Enning. The Cougars and Wildcats are going to get into a game of boot ball. I'm not sure that inures to the benefit of the Wildcats, Skip. I think they're better off when they're possessing and holding on to the ball.
Yeah, when we've seen them control play tonight, it's always been on the ground with good passes either to open space or to feet.
Speaking of good passes, Wood gets by one defender. Another defender comes and cleans that up. Is that going to be a corner or a throw? Assistant referee says it's going to be a throw, and then takes a swipe or two at some of the imaginary flies we can't see up here, but are surely down on the field. Stella Triplett lays this off for Enning. Enning pops that for the left foot, looking for Borean. Borean goes high, and a collision. Heavy collision there as one of the Lakeville South defenders on the wrong end of that one. That was Cooper. Didn't look like it was from behind, but might have been from behind. In any event, the referee didn't think enough of it to call a foul.
Tough to say because I felt like Borean had position and went straight up, and she won the ball in the air, which is maybe why there wasn't a call.
Hendrickson, that's a collision from behind. Now I'm getting a little bit, I have to say, Skip, I'm getting a little bit confused now because that looked like a pretty heavy collision into Avery Hendrickson from behind. And if the referee's going to have to start blowing a whistle here, or he risks this game getting out of control.
Yeah, the Cougar forward just ran up her back. I'm a little surprised that the center ref swallowed the whistle.
Now Westerman sends that to the middle, but no one there. And the play comes back from Wood, but again, all the way to Burke, but no one there. Now Wood sent on a sabbatical down the sideline, but nothing doing there. Again, Cats just not able to connect more than a handful of passes.
Substitution for Lakeville South. Back in the game, Sophia Corda, number 13, going off number 7, Brianna San.
Corda checking in for San for the Cougars. Wood looks for Westerman, but it comes all the way back for Hendrickson. Hendrickson has some heat behind her, needs to shield that ball off, and McGowan has to bail her out. An extra push, and that's the second time. And I think referee's going to have a conversation with the player, but that's absolutely a foul that should have been whistled. I'm not suggesting, you could argue that was a cautionable offense, but certainly should have blown a whistle. That's the third foul in as many handful of minutes, Skip. We've seen this referee hits from behind or potential plays from behind that he's let go.
Yeah, I'm definitely whipping out the yellow card on that one. That was such a clear and intentful two-hand shove from behind when the play was over.
Play was over, absolutely.
McGowan had possession. There was really no reason for that.
That being said, if the Cougars need to get a little bit of fire in the belly, maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe a little extra physical play is something they've talked about at halftime, saying, hey, let's push these Cats around and see if they respond. Cougars down in the far corner. Hendrickson there. That ball goes into touch and a goal kick. Check it. That is going to be a corner. This first corner of the second half for the Cougars, fourth of the game. Wasn't exactly a major celebration there, but in any event, we play on. Ebbinghausen will stand over it. Number 23 in the far corner. She'll try to get her right foot in to curl this in. Let's see where she drops it.
All the Eagan defenders, all the field players are in the box.
Ball goes all the way over and misses everybody. Had a good curve on it, but just a little too much pace. Tanquist checking in back for the Cougars. We'll have a traditional, what appear to have a traditional four at the back. Severson and Hendrickson there combining to get that into touch, but not exactly looking confident back there.
Yeah, this first half starting out like the second half starting out like the first half ended, where really neither team generating any chances.
Yeah, hook of the arm there. Again, referee letting a few things go. Let's see if Severson can get this ball out and away from the defenders. Triplett battling there. Doing a good job of forcing Hines to go backwards. This ball gets switched. Opportunity here for Wood as she steps quickly. Just one step closer, and she might have had a chance at that one. This falls for Burke. Hendrickson to Triplett. That ball between Westerman and Stella Triplett. Unfortunate that time. Borean with a little bit of space here on the near sideline. She sends that forward, but just a little too heavy. The Wildcat forwards not up on the line with the defenders. So every time they make a run, Skip, they're starting a good 5 to 10 yards, probably 10 to 12 yards off of the back defensive line. That's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, when you do those balls, those long balls that are past the defensive line, you really need to make sure that your teammate is in a position to win those balls, where either they've already started their run and they're still in an onside position, or it's so far away from the other team that your teammate is closer. It's just not well connected there with the passer, between the passer and the intended recipient.
Deep throw here coming up for the Wildcats in the corner as we are inside 30 minutes to go in this scoreless affair. Triplett with it. Tries to win a corner, but Lakeville South defender says nothing doing. Westerman waited on that ball. That one got popped out. And again, Cougars doing a nice job of stepping quickly to the ball. Now it's switched to Severson. That's the fourth or fifth time we've noticed, Skip, where the Cougars are just stepping in front of the Wildcats. Wildcats expect that ball to get to them either a little bit quicker or they need to start stepping a little harder to the ball. Borean with a throw. That's going to go over the top. Here's an opportunity for Westerman. Can Westerman get a handle on it? No, they can't, but it's put behind, and the Wildcats will have their first corner of the game, coming with just over 28 and a half minutes to go here in the second half.
Nice pressure there by Westerman, forcing that defender to make a decision that she probably didn't want to make. She was hoping maybe the goalkeeper would come off the line and field that, but she felt like she didn't have any other option. She had to put that one in for a corner.
Borean with a left foot, out swinger. This one comes towards the back post. It's headed down by Burke. It finds a foot and then finds a white foot. Triplett hammers it back in. Borean's going to punch this. I thought she was going to punch it back in. She goes left foot, and she earns another corner. Nice play by Francesca Borean, doing a nice job of creating another corner. I thought for sure she was just going to pooch that right back in. Instead, she pulls it down, goes around the defender, and now looks like we will have Tess Triplett trot over, so maybe a right foot in swinger this time.
Another nifty play there by Borean. She's having a really good match. Wouldn't mind seeing her get in a position to put a shot on goal.
Cats trying to dial up a shot. Now Triplett with the right foot. This ball comes towards the back post. Burke with a header, and Karstensen with a confident save. That was a good shot, good cross, good header, good save by Karstensen. Good all around, but unfortunately for the Wildcats, 0-0 still on the scoreboard.
Yeah, she had that one lined up. I mean, perfect, body position. She got a good strike on it, unfortunately, right at Karstensen.
Well, we saw Burke last season, Skip, do a great job with her head. Triplett pooches this ball up, didn't lead Wood enough. I think Triplett was going for Wood, but couldn't get the ball with enough lead and let Wood run onto it. But we saw Burke last season use her head several times. It looks like the Wildcats are making a point on their corners to find Burke on the back post. Westerman takes it to the middle of the field. She's always a danger to score, as we've seen several times. Here's Enning. Enning's going to load up and fire from distance, and that will slide wide. So a shot, not on goal, but Enning doing a nice job of connecting on that ball.
With the assistance of a couple of those corners, Wildcats starting to generate a few more chances here. That's what we like to see. That'll increase their odds of finally getting that goal. Plenty of time left, 26 minutes.
Westerman with a nice touch there, gets it down to her foot, plays it across looking for Wood. Wood, She's going to flash by one defender. She's going to flash by, almost a couple of defenders. That's a penalty. That's surely a penalty. Wood taken down inside the penalty area. That's absolutely, and a penalty has been given as Wood by the defender, and a huge opportunity here for the Wildcats. Looking at the Lakeville South bench, not a lot of protest. Wood went by one defender and was cleaned out by the other defender. Assistant referee instantly raised her flag. And so in the 56th minute, we have an opportunity here for Triplett. Looks like it will be Tess Triplett. Number 7 for the Wildcats will stand over this ball. She has to wait for the referee's whistle. Karstensen in the middle of the field, between the goal doing jumping jacks. The whistle. Triplett, right foot, goal. Wildcats convert in the 56th minute. That's Tess Triplett, and it's 1-0.
Well, that all set up really by just the speed and aggressiveness of one Sammy Wood. She just did a phenomenal job of not only beating that one defender, but really pushing to try and get past the second one. Earned the foul. It's a good call. It was an obvious foul. I mean, like you said, the AR waved the flag right away, and Triplett, doing what she needs to do and finishing that with a really brilliant penalty.
Well, the Cats definitely needed to convert that, and you wonder how, Skip, do the Cats now relax and play clean, fluid, relaxed soccer, but on top of things, do the Cougars press now that they're chasing the game a little bit, and with their history not scoring too many goals, are they going to be chasing the game and pressing to create opportunities for the Cats? Interesting story as this develops.
Yeah, I'd really like to see the Wildcats, keep the pressure on, keep playing that, the possession game and trying to generate scoring chances. I always think that's the best way to protect a 1-0 lead, especially when there's this much time left. If it's the last 5 minutes, okay, now you can start to play, smart soccer. You can start to make sure you're kicking it deep into the corners, wasting time.
Oh, that's a beautiful ball by Westerman looking for Triplett. Triplett will be dispossessed. And she was offside anyway, as Stella Triplett had wandered into an offside position, got her hand caught in the cookie jar. But what a play by Westerman. Forgive me, you were finishing your statement, but Westerman with a brilliant outside use of the right foot to serve that in a position to let Triplett run onto it.
Yeah, exactly. But, to finish that thought, 24 minutes left, that's too much time to play the kind of, soccer of where, okay, we're just going to waste time. They need to keep playing their game.
Bit of a mishit there by the Cougars by Maddox, and that goes into touch and will be a white throw. Comes in towards Severson. Triplett with a good turn. Now another good turn. Good foot skills there by Tess Triplett, but that ball missed everybody. Missed Wood and missed Westerman. I thought for sure the Cougars would be pressing the other way. Instead, that goes into touch, and the Wildcats get bailed out there. I want to say thank you so much to our award-winning ETV crew. Executive producer is Josh Sibley. Our director today is Jared Greenberg. Camera work by Carter Bain and Emma Johnson. Thank you so much, folks, for making us look and sound so good. Skip and I have the easy job. You guys make it all look and sound so good here in Eagan. You guys really are a huge part of this community and a real community asset. Severson to Borean. Borean attacking outside. And a good tackle that time by the South Cougars. Nobody looking for a foul, except for a few mobs in the stands. Oh, that's a great flick on that time by Westerman. Didn't find a body or didn't find a boot, but did a nice job of flicking that on. Skip, more of that, please.
Yeah, I like the creativity. It's a great way to create sneaky chances.
Triplett needs to find somebody. Somebody needs to open up for Triplett. She's going to play with her back to the goal. Someone's going to have to flash into a good spot for her. Here's Wood. Is Wood going to be able to get? Well, Wood forces the throw. And I would imagine, given there were some substitutions in the first half, I would imagine, Skip, that Coach Qasim Ilmi would do whatever he could to keep his starters on the pitch. What do we have here? The assistant referee did not flag for a foul. Must be a goal kick. It must have gone over for a goal kick, but at first it wasn't immediately apparent what she was signaling.
Well, I think it was a trip, and he let it go because it was a goal kick, and so I think he was verbally warning the Wildcat player there, hey, don't do that.
And ending there with a great effort. Unfortunately, that one goes into touch into the last 21 minutes and change of this game. And the Cougars, I should say, an unfortunate story that seems to be unfolding, that they've kept it close. They've kept the Wildcats, for the most part, off the scoreboard in open play, but the conceding the penalty certainly may have done them in here as Westerman goes across, just a little bit heavy off of Borion's head. And this one finds Karstenson's mitts.
Yeah, would have liked to have seen that pass across on the ground. Bringing that one up made that a really difficult play for Borion to make.
Burke with a nice touch there, knocks that one down and gets it to Severson. Severson skips a level and finds Westerman. Westerman had pressure right away. That ball gets popped up in the air. If it makes it over, Wood's going to have a chance to run onto it, but instead that time Tanquist doing a nice job of heading it away. Sammy Wood, again, not the tallest player on the pitch, so in a head-to-head contest, if people are jumping in the air, maybe some challenges as McKenna Willie checks in, and Angelique Yin also checks in. Ariella Yin, excuse me, thinking of her sister. Habits die hard here up on ETV Sports. So Yin and Willie checking in, and imagine, again, some of those players that Coach Q started with might find their way back onto the pitch here in the second half. We'll see how this half goes. Good step on the outside that time by Cameron. Cameron, another sophomore who's found her way into the varsity starting lineup. In fact, that whole side of the Wildcat lineup, the Cameron Wood side, is all sophomores. Number of sophomores on the team for Coach Q. Just want to remind you to stick around. Make sure you stick around and watch the defending state champion boys program take on Lakeville South here, coming up about 20 minutes after this game concludes. Popped high in the air by Enning. It's going to take a weird bounce. Triplet's going to chase. She gets it down to her feet, but that's going to go into touch. It actually went out of play over the sideline first, the touch line, so a throw for the Cougars.
Two substitutions for the Cougars.
A little bit better here, actually, for the Wildcats. I prefer a deep throw by the Cougar back line instead of a goal kick. Opportunity for them to set up their defense and see if they can't keep the pressure on. Again, force a turnover. Maybe they can generate a scoring chance out of this.
And in comes slicing in. Now it comes out to the top, looking for a couple of Cougars. Son with it. Dispossessed that time by Burke. Burke goes across the field. This is Willie. Willie's going to use her left foot and get on the end of it. She goes by Maddox. She's got an opportunity. McKenna Willie to the end line. Opportunity for Westerman, but just served too close to Karstensen. McKenna Willie with a nice run, but the ball just too close to the keeper.
A couple of nice things there by Willie. One, she recognized that she had the speed and the angle advantage, and she just put it right past that defender and then ran around her and then tried to feed a pass through on the ground instead of just blasting the cross. I like that decision. I mean, she almost connected with her teammate, close to goal. That would have been a bang-bang pass shot opportunity there for the Wildcats. So Willie making something happen and just checking in. Eagan boys and girls would like to thank their sponsors, the platinum sponsors for Wildcat Soccer, 401k Plan Professionals, Ansari's Mediterranean Grill and Lounge, Eagan Hockey Association, Hy-Vee, Itasca Wealth, Melanie and John Willie, the Willie team, Edina Realty, Neb Doctors.
Opportunity here for the Cougars, and that chance goes begging for a simple goal kick. Back to you, Skip.
Pablo and Don Borean, Realtor team, Twin Cities Orthopedics, and Wave Soccer Club. Once again, thank you to our platinum sponsors for helping Wildcat soccer be as successful as we can be.
McGowan with an opportunity. She's had a little more action here in the second half, Skip, but really not much in the way of a lot of scoring opportunities. Here's a great ball by Westerman off of Yin's header. This will fall for Willie. Willie with some room, some space down the sideline. She's matched there by 2 defenders. Willie will now attack the corner. She's going to try to serve it in with her left foot, and that goes into touch. So a deep throw here coming up for the Wildcats. But Willie showing some real menace down the left side for the Wildcats as a whole host of substitutions come in for the Wildcats.
Yeah, Willie didn't have a whole lot of attractive options there. There were at least 3 girls between her and the goal.
Opportunity on the far side. This comes in for Triplett. Triplett, oh, dispossessed. She, again, waiting on the ball. To the credit of Lakeville South, Skip, if they don't wait on the ball there, Triplett gets a free shot. Or excuse me, if they wait on the ball, Triplett gets a free shot there, and that could be 2-0.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for the Wildcats. They had a golden opportunity to at least get a really good shot on, and they just let it kind of go by the wayside by not being quite as aggressive, by not pulling the trigger fast enough. They have to have a little more, intensity when they get those scoring chances and kick up that level of intensity a notch is to capitalize.
Comes for Triplett. She's got her back to the goal now. Looks for a teammate. Finds a teammate. That ball gets popped up and over the top. Here's an opportunity for the Wildcats down the sideline. Giving chase is Tesdall. Check it, that's Cameron. 18 and 16 look a little kind of the same from up here. And now the Cougars will go the other way, but will serve that into touch. I have to say, Skip, the Cougars in the attacking third, even in the attacking half, don't seem to be very connected. Don't seem to be very connected and don't seem to have a lot of, they need somebody to demonstrate some creativity and to unlock this Wildcat defense.
Yeah, when you look at even the stats kind of back that up, right? I mean, they had 2 shots on goal in the first half, none here in the second half that I've seen. So 2 shots on goal. They've had 3 corner kicks in the first half, 1 here in the second. So even with 4 corner kicks, they've still only managed 2 or 3 shots on goal in the match. That's a tough way to break a scoring drought.
Ball headed away that time by the Cats, by Tesdall. This ball comes to the back line, taken away by Werner, who's checked in. Werner and Stokes did check in the last time there were some Wildcat substitutions. Burke with a little bit of green grass in front of her. She's got a couple of runners in front of her. Who's she going to pick out? She's looking for Triplett, but Triplett was moving to the left. That ball went out to the right. Triplett's still going to get on the other end of this. Oh, and she's going to get hammered. Referee, about as nonchalant a foul call as you might notice. The assistant referee frantically waving that flag in the air. And an argument could be made that, again, that was pretty hard from behind, Skip. At some point, a yellow card probably needs to be produced here to keep this game under control.
Yeah, I feel like the AR on the far side is recognizing that and kind of taking matters into her own hands and saying, all right, if you're not going to make the calls that need to be made, I'm going to do it.
Severson puts this down towards Westerman, who tries to flick it on. It finds its way towards the back line. I like that idea by Westerman. Just a little flick on, Skip. She's not trying to turn her body. She's not trying to steer it. She's just flicking it on and keeping the momentum going, maybe creating almost like a, if this was hockey, somebody in front of the goal to create a rebound or a deflection, right? But nice play by Westerman, just didn't come off.
Yeah, change the direction of the cross to throw off the defense and see if you can't give yourself a goal scoring opportunity.
Right, Valaga coming in as well as Sutherland. So Valaga listed as a defender, but she's going to be playing outside. Here's an opportunity for Werner. Werner's going to step onto this. She gets taken off of dispossessed, falls over the ball. Opportunity here for the Wildcats. That shot comes in, nicely done. Sophia Sutherland with a nice ball there. It was a sneaky good shot, Skip.
Yeah, that materialized kind of out of nowhere. All of a sudden found herself pretty open about 20 yards out in a clean lane, clean shooting lane. Put that one on frame.
Burke pitches that forward. This falls from Willie. Willie, oh, heavy collision there. Probably needed a whistle there. Referee's going to let that go. Again, now he's going to call it. If he was playing advantage, he didn't signal advantage, but a foul against the Wildcats. And that's a foul despite the fact that the Wildcat player, Statman, was not, I mean, there wasn't anything in it, but it was a foul, and he needs to blow that whistle. Keep these girls safe, keep the temperature of the game reasonable. Statman with it again, tries to go inside for Willie. Willie lays off this time for Sutherland, who hammers that one off of a South player. South come away with it, and now the Wildcats to the defensive pump. Little combination passing for the Cougars on the far sideline leads to nothing. The lights on now here in Eagan as we approach the last 10 minutes of this game. You get the feeling, Skip, there might just be one more twist in this game. Just not sure exactly how that twist is going to occur, but you get a sense that the teams are throwing enough bodies around that maybe we haven't seen the end of the scoring yet.
Yeah, one goal match again. Anything can happen, and I'd like to see Eagan keep the pressure on, get that second goal. Put this thing out of reach. A second goal ends the game, and that's really what you're looking for the Wildcats. You don't want anything, kind of freaky or weird to happen, and all of a sudden you end up with a 1-1 tie in a match where you really dominated the scoring opportunities. Once again, the Wildcats would like to thank their gold sponsors, the Acme Tools, Carboni's, Eagan, Coldwell Banker, Rami Quarmont, Cornerstone Chiropractic, Eagan Football Booster, Escape With Us Vacations, Park Dental in Eagan, Raising Cane's, Salvo Soccer Club, Teresa's Mexican Restaurant, The Proper Culture, and the Urgency Room. Once again, thank you to our gold sponsors for making Eagan girls and boys Wildcat soccer as successful as we can be, both on and off the pitch.
Ball goes down into the corner. Stokes with it there, using her body to try to steer that ball into touch. She does. There'll be a deep throw for the Cougars. And with less than 9 minutes to go here in this match, Cougars may not have too many more forays into the Wildcat end. Valaga now back on defense. That ball will find its way over the end line, and now McGowan will put that back into play from a goal kick. But
and a substitution for the Wildcats.
Cats have not converted a number of their chances. Cougars obviously have converted even fewer. Anytime they've had a corner, anytime they've got a deep throw, they've got to start creating some pressure on the front of the Wildcats' net.
Yeah, let's not forget that the Cougars are scoreless because of a great end of the first half play by the goalkeeper, Abigail McGowan. I mean, just a diving save on what was probably going to end up being a goal unless the Cougars couldn't, take advantage of what was a brilliant scoring opportunity. So while McGowan hasn't had to do much, when she was called upon, she came up huge.
Sutherland lays that back for Severson, who looks forward. Opportunity here for Stetman, whose pass is intercepted. That time there were runners up ahead of her, but not quite where that ball needed to be. This will go into touch, and the Cougars will have yet another throw. And of course, every win, every tie, every loss, huge when it comes to things like section seeding. Despite the fact that these two teams are in different sections, Skip, a win against Lakeville South helps give the Wildcats a good argument if perhaps they're in a situation where they're trying to get a higher seed from another team. And a foul from center referee against the Wildcats. So this might be another great opportunity for the Cougars. This ball less than 30 yards away from goal.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I can't believe there aren't more Cougars flooding the box, but now they're finally starting to move up.
This ball comes in towards McGowan. McGowan has to climb the ladder, and that's not a goal. That came off, nope, that came off the football crossbar.
Yeah, that was out.
That is a corner. That is a corner. A great save by McGowan. So a shot on goal, a save by McGowan, and now a corner. Lots of tally marks on the stat sheet for the Cougars.
And out of bounds,
Cougars parents and supporters disappointed that one didn't count, but when you haven't scored in 5 games, you get excited when it hits the back of the net.
Yeah, you'll take whatever you can get, and it was another great save by McGowan.
Alyssa Maddox, number 9.
Maddox's right foot. This has got a little bit of a spin on it. This finds the underside of somebody. Somebody needs to knock that down, and they do, but it goes for another corner. So back-to-back corners. I'll tell you, Skip, I'm getting a rather queasy feeling up here in the in the press box, because this is how we've seen Wildcat teams concede on back-to-back corners in games they should be winning.
Well, and fortunately for the Wildcats, that Cougar forward got turned around and the ball was stuck underneath her foot. Otherwise, she had a golden opportunity to put one on.
This goes off of a Wildcat head, falls for a Cougar. Cougars lay it off for Maddox. Maddox hammers this one, the corner taker, back to the back post, but finds the wrong back post. And fortunately for the Wildcats, they survived that opportunity. But so many times, Skip, the Wildcats, even this year or in prior iterations, have conceded in close games on back-to-back corners. And at some point, as a fan, as a commentator, you hate to see it for the Wildcats. But credit to the Cougars, they created a good opportunity there.
Yeah, the more times that the team that's trying to get that equalizer, the more chances they get, the more momentum they gain, and they start to get really hungry for it, and they just increase the intensity, and that's what you're trying to avoid if you're the Wildcats, which is why you want to see them stay aggressive and work the ball down the pitch if they can.
Borean really selling out there on that ball as Sutherland's not able to keep it down. There's a run to the outside. Played to the outside that time by by Johansson. Number 14 for the Cougars.
Substitution for Lakeville South back in the game is Eve Ebickhausen, number 23. Going off, number 8, and Adele Bolton.
Bolton checking out with Ebbinghausen taking her spot. This ball down the sideline, but into touch, so another opportunity for the Cats to
Center referee stopping the clock.
For the Cougars, but we have an injury timeout. I think there was a collision of heads, and one of the Cougars down on the turf, just off your camera.
Yeah, she went down right away, and like you said, I think the Wildcat player played the ball with her head, and then in the follow through of that action, accidentally made contact with unfortunately, probably with the face of the Cougar player. So that's a difficult one to take. Heads are hard. That can hurt.
Clock stopped here in Eagan with 4 minutes, 20 seconds to go here in the second half. Cats leading the Cougars 1-0.
She will replace.
And there you see the Cats meeting just outside the Eagan penalty area, talking about what they need to do here in the next 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And at this point, as much as we'd like to see yet another goal for the Wildcats, you get a sense, Skip Newton, do you not, that maybe just getting this ball down into the south end and keeping it down there is probably as good a strategy as anything?
Yeah, at this point with 4:20 to go, you're much more comfortable just getting it down there and then being patient and not taking bad shots where the odds are it's just going to go straight to the goalkeeper, or you're going to turn it over for a goal kick. Just keep possession, keep the passing. We've seen the Wildcats tonight string together a lot of passes when they're patient, when they're controlling the ball. If they can do that again, work it down the field, down the pitch, and make that happen, they can kill a lot of time, and it really does accomplish a couple of things. Besides killing the time, it really demoralizes your opponent, and that can be a great strategy to finish off what should be a win.
And a Lakeville South player whose number I'm not able to quite pick up. I think I know who it is. But in any event, she is up and walking on her own power, no limp or anything, so that's good.
Clock was stopped for
So
the
that's a
injured
positive
player.
thing. So I think we're going to have a
We will
dropped
resume.
ball. I think we'll have a dropped ball. Check it. We will have a throw-in. The restart is a throw-in for the Cats. I thought it was actually a throw-in for the Cougars, but in any event, we play on.
Throw in for the Wildcats to resume play.
In that meantime, Wood has checked back in. So Enning, Wood, and Wood are the only two, I think the only two starters on the pitch now for the Wildcats. This ball comes up and over the top. Sutherland, Stetman's going to run onto that one. She goes by one defender. Here she has an opportunity, but she's going to run out of real estate. A good effort that time by Stetman.
Goal kick.
Yeah, it's too bad she couldn't have caught up to that one again. Would have delayed things significantly, but yields the goal kick. Still a really good effort just to get to that one before it went out, into touch.
Wood sends that forward, but again, intercepted that time by the Cougars. Cougars not going away in this one, Skip, and I have to say, despite when you have a team that hasn't scored, it's now going on 6 games, that's a hard thing to stay engaged. It's a hard thing to keep battling, but they know being down only a goal, the opportunity is there for them. And a foul there on the far side against the Cougars. Cats can take their time with this one.
Whistle on the
And
foul.
Enning will concede that one and let Burke come up. Evie Burke has moved. I check it. Burke is on the field. She's actually playing center back for the Wildcats. So she is also a starter on the field, one of our captains. Burke sends this down towards the edge of the penalty area. It gets ping-ponged around. Falls for Boreon, but doesn't quite fall where it needs to be. Sutherland, and an offside flag is up still on the far side. So the assistant referee apparently found Boreon in a offside position. I'm not sure how that happened. She looked like she was in a giant crowd of people. I'm not sure how an offside infraction could have occurred there.
I think as the free kick came in, people went up to play the ball, and she maybe was standing back, and just everyone else's movement left her in an offside position, and then all of a sudden the ball came over to her, and then because she played it, the flag went up.
Severson has the ball taken off of her foot, and now Wildcats with just less than 2 minutes to go face a concentrated Cougar attack, and
For the Cougars back in.
Cougars
Annabelle
are
Bolton,
substituting.
number 8,
Rather
going off,
unfortunate
number 12,
timing
Katie
there as the
Hines.
Cougars might have had an opportunity, but Maddox will stand under this again. Cats need to mark closely. This ball comes in towards the penalty spot. Burke heads that away, chased by Wood. Cougars play it negative, gets sent back in. Burke with it again. Enning clears out. Burke sends it out, and Stetman's going to chase this one. Casterman well off of her line. Here's Sutherland. Sutherland unable to get on the other end of that one. Big step here on the near side that time by Tesdall. And that gets sent back the other way.
1 minute remaining in the second half.
So nice clear earlier by Burke, and the Eagan defense doing a nice job stepping up, winning those balls. They really can't afford to wait on any of these. They have to stay aggressive here for the final 45 seconds.
Ball comes in towards the penalty area. It's played out that time
Oh, that's a great ball.
by the Cats.
Oh, a nice block.
And still not out. That ball's not out of play, was it? Was it out of play?
The flag went up by
The flag
the
did
AR,
go up.
yes.
Oh, okay. For a moment, from our angle, it didn't look like that ball went out of play. As Boreon trips over there, that was not a foul. Just a rather athletic
10 seconds
opportunity.
remaining. 9,
And a throw
8,
for Boreon
7,
near side
6,
into the last 5 seconds.
4,
Werner
3,
takes it off of her hips.
2, 1.
And that will do it. The Wildcats, despite out shooting
Game
the
is over. The final score of tonight's South Suburban
Cougars
Conference game, the Eagan
by
Wildcats
about
won
a
the
ratio of
Lakeville
maybe
South
4 to
Cougars
1, maybe 5 to 1. Still are only able to get the 57th minute penalty from Tess Triplett for the margin in this one. 1-0 to the Wildcats. A close run thing. Wildcats end up on the right side of the score, Skip Newton.
Yeah, the unfortunate part is they were not able to generate any goals just in the regular play, but their aggressiveness generated some chances a lot early and then quite a few, kind of midway through the second half here. But that aggressiveness did earn that penalty, and they made good on the penalty, and defensively very strong. I mean, they didn't yield much at all. McGowan extremely strong in net for the couple of chances where Lakeville South did have an opportunity. So a good win for the Wildcats, a needed win for the Wildcats.
Way to get back on the winning track. And again, they will be playing the Eden Prairie Eagles at 3 o'clock this Saturday in Eden Prairie. Our next broadcast for the Wildcats will be next week again when they take on the Shakopee Sabres. So that'll be a heck of a match. We invite you to join us, but don't go anywhere. Just take a pause, maybe go make a sandwich, get yourself a non-alcoholic beverage, and just relax for a few minutes while the reigning Class 3A state champions warm up on the field. You can see them warming up there on the left side of your screen. We'll have boys high school soccer action coming up for you here on ETV Sports. You are watching ETV with the final score here from Wildcat Stadium. The Wildcats won, Cougars 0. You're watching ETV Sports.